The world's fastest and most skilled off-road racers collide once again here at the Bulldog GNCC for an intense, bar-banging, adrenaline-fueled 3 hours of racing. This is the Grand National Cross Country on MAVTV.
To go GNCC Racing!
Hello and welcome back to Aonia Pass Motocross Park here in beautiful Washington, Georgia for the Bulldog GNCC presented by Specialized. Hi there folks, I'm Mikey Waynes and I'll be taking you through today's race recap. But first, let's see where we left off in round 3. Well, the Specialized race recap, it was Lane Michael out front early, and how about that, Caleb Russell toward the middle of the pack of the XC1 riders. Wasn't there for long though, but again, great start out of Lane Michael. And on screen right there, actually Stu Baylor moving out into the number 1 spot. This was a race where we saw several different lead changes throughout the day. Jordan Ashburn in that number 2 spot early on, but boy, it did not take long for things to change. There we see Stu Baylor still in that number 1 spot, but there he is, the number 1, Caleb Russell, moving through right behind him. And Stu Baylor right there making quick work of our lappers here in a 3-hour GNCC. There's Caleb Russell doing the same right behind him. These two had some great battles. As a matter of fact, it all came down to this. Right here, last part of the track, Stu Baylor out in front. He goes wide, way too wide, allowing Caleb Russell to sneak in on the inside and eventually getting through the checkered flag and taking his 3rd win to start 2020.
Yeah, it was rode the struggle bus all day pretty much. It was it was tough, man. I couldn't get going, and I had a little bit of a cold this week and just didn't feel 100% like physically ready to go, but I still got a little bit of a cough. I might have this coronavirus, but I'm just happy to get out front there at the very end. But man, it was a tough race, and as many lines there were, it was really hard to pass. Like it was, they're all pretty equally fast, and there was definitely some questionable lines out there that guys made, but it's crazy. Some of they're going left, right. Like I was like, never even saw that pedal on the track. I pedaled the track 4 times, so yeah, we need to chill out on some of that. But yeah, like I said, I just couldn't get going, and Stu was riding really good, but I was crashing like once or twice, getting stuck, making dumb mistakes, making it really hard on myself. So I kept catching him. I was just like, I might run out of time here, so I was gonna give it a hard charge and throw it in there on him in one of these corners, and luckily he's a little doesn't have much moto background. He just went wide for me and made it easy, so it was nice.
So we take a look at the top 3 from round number 3, a solid finish for Josh Strang, who has opened up the season with 3 podium finishes. And how about the finishes for the Factory One Sherco guys, having a strong start both into the top 5. And there's one of those guys' bikes right there. That is not a Factory One Sherco, but that is the bike of Stu Baylor, stealing a card out of Talladega Nights right there. And when will Stu be back to racing? We don't know. We have no idea, but we do know it will not be aboard the Factory One Sherco. Fast forward to today's racing action. All balls racing, whole shot up for grabs. And who's it going to be? Caleb Russell, picking up right where he left off in round number 3. Out front early, grabbing that all balls racing whole shot, and already looking like he's trying to check out. Lane Michael, though, right on his heels as they head him into the woods. And here we go. Caleb Russell still out in front. The 5:23 of Lane Michael right behind him. And how about Josh Toth in that number 3 spot right now? This is Toth's first race back this season. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that race pace throughout all 3 hours. Coming back from an injury, you can do all the training and all the conditioning you want in the world, but nothing quite compares to the race pace of an actual 3-hour GNCC. Grant Baylor looks like he's moving his way up through the pack in this FMF PowerPoint, and Andrew DeLong now toward the back, trying to make his way up. XC2 start now. Hot Cams Whole Shot Award up for grabs in this one. The XC2 has really run deep with talent this year. That is Craig DeLong out front in this one, snagging that whole shot. Woo, going a little wide right there, but still putting some distance between him and the pack. And how about this confidence boost for Craig DeLong? He is coming off a win in round 3 where he officially joined the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna factory team, and you can tell he has got some confidence about him right now. Ryder Lafferty right there on screen, I believe in the number 4 spot. Great start for him. It's not been the best start of this 2020 season, but we know Ryder Lafferty actually been training with Stu Baylor. That looks to be paying off for him. Back down to the start line we go for the FMF XC3, another class that is absolutely stacked this season. And I know I've said this before, but man, the sound of those 125s, nothing quite like it in the world, no doubt about it. The 722 KTM coming into today, that is Zach Hayes coming in with 2 wins and a 3rd in round 3. And the old wily veteran of Jason Raines picking up the win in the last round. Back into the woods we go, and our front runners, Caleb Russell out in front of Lane Michael, refusing to let him get away from him. Can Caleb hang on and snag a win? We'll be right back to GNCC on MAVTV right after this.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And by Yamaha. Revs your heart.
Welcome back to the Bulldog GNCC. Caleb Russell still out in front, and the 523 Ampro Yamaha still right behind him in that number 2 spot, mirroring exactly what Caleb does right there. Ricky Russell, the 212 Coastal Racing Husqvarna, on the charge in that 3rd place position, trying to catch up with those front 2 runners. And how about that? Ashburn in the number 4 spot with Toth right there in 5th, and teammate of Jordan Ashburn, Josh Strang, in the number 5 spot. Now, this has got to feel good if you are a Lane Michael fan or you're Lane Michael himself. He's had some great starts here in 2020, but his best finish to date is a 7th place back in round number 1. Seeing a lot more consistency out of him today, and he's putting himself in a good position here at the midway point of perhaps snagging his first podium finish. Caleb and Lane right there moving flawlessly through the tight section, and I believe this should be Ricky Russell coming up. Yep, sure enough it is. Working hard to try and close that gap in between 3rd and 2nd place. Speaking of a gap, how about it? Caleb Russell opening it up right there in between him and Lane Michael. Let's see how far behind Ricky is now. Maybe he's made up a little bit of ground. He's still at about that same spot, but he is chipping away at 2nd place right now. Only a few seconds in between them. Caleb Russell all by himself into the FMF PowerPoint. There is Lane Michael on screen now. So it looks like that gap is starting to close just a little bit. And here is 3rd place ride, the 212 Coastal Racing Husqvarna of Ricky Russell. Now you might be thinking to yourself at this point, these guys are running away with it. It's a done deal. Well, I'm here to tell you, keep in mind, it is a 3-hour race. So much comes into play for these guys. Obviously, it's a race of endurance, but between pit strategy, lap traffic, and the terrain wearing you down so much, can change in the last hour of racing. Do not be surprised at all to see one of these riders that are in the middle of the XC1 pack jump into a podium position before it's said and done with. No doubt about it, certainly a possibility. We've already seen it happen this season. So there we go, Ricky Russell on screen, and Caleb Russell enters your screen now, still out in front, moving through that section flawlessly. No problems for Caleb, no problems for Lane Michael as he moves through. And again, that gap, kind of that accordion effect right now. As soon as Lane Michael seems to reel him in, Caleb Russell pulls out a little bit more out in front, and we're seeing the same thing here from Ricky Russell. Just as soon as he starts catching up with Lane, they increase the gap a little bit there as well. So we'll see how this one starts playing out as we get closer to that 3-hour mark and get down to the nitty-gritty. Into mile marker number 2 right there is Caleb Russell, and we're waiting. Boy, how about that? Now we're seeing a big gap between these guys. Is this going to be one of those days where Caleb just checks out to Laterville? There is Lane Michael now. Boy, look at him moving quick. He knows he cannot lose sight of Caleb. That's a position he's in right now, and you got to start thinking, if you're Lane Michael, all right, how far behind is 3rd? How far behind is 4th? Right there. Take a look at that 4th and 5th place. The Kawasaki boys moving in on these guys through mile marker 2. Can Caleb Russell stay the pace and capture his 4th win? GNCC continues after this. Well, making its debut back in 2018 was the EMTB race. That's right, the e-mountain bike racing. And since then, it has grown by leaps and bounds. Just look at that starting line. It's getting bigger and bigger each race, it seems like. GNCC's first full season being back in 2019, just last year, where we saw Charlie Mullins capture the national championship on the pro level. And he's not the only big name out there enjoying these races. That's right, Coastal Racing's own and GNCC legend Barry Hawk out there racing in these, as well as his son Talon, and how about the name Randy Hawkins? His son Mitch Hawkins participates in these as well. So no shortage of GNCC lore in the e-bike racing world. And folks, don't adjust your screens. You are correct. You did get a glimpse there of XC1 Pro Rider on the 2-wheel side of things, dirt bike side of things. Ben Kelly, how about it? He's in 2nd place behind Charlie Mullins just a race ago. And good to see Ben Kelly back out racing, although we do want to see you on a dirt bike here soon. I think that's going to happen. So getting a little warm-up, if you will, on the e-bike and giving Charlie Mullins all he wants. Certainly good to see Ben out there, but when it was all said and done, Charlie Mullins snags another win here to start 2020. Ben Kelly all smiles, enjoying himself out there. But definitely something you've got to check out if you get to the GNCCs. You're going to love it. I can guarantee I've not heard of anybody who's thrown their leg over an e-bike and not absolutely enjoyed it. Caleb Russell back on screen now, going to be heading into the pits here shortly. And Caleb getting a little fuel, getting rehydrated. And there he is, Ben Kelly actually helping out with Caleb Russell in the pits. I'm sure he's thinking to himself right now, well, this is cool, but man, I'd much rather be on the dirt bike. A little slow getting out of the pits was Caleb Russell right there, but with that lead he's got, shouldn't be a big deal. Here into the Parts Unlimited section. Caleb Russell off and rolling, and man, is he ever. Into the FMF PowerPoint. No problems for Caleb Russell right there as we wait for 2nd place. How far off the pace are we now? And is it still Lane Michael? No, it is Ricky Russell moving into the number 2 spot. Ooh, as he gets real close to some lap traffic. But no problems for him as he exits the FMF PowerPoint. And there is Josh Strang now up into the number 3 spot. So a new top 3 here as Caleb enters the Monster Mile. No problems for him. Ricky Russell, no problems for him as well. Pretty good gap right there between 1st and 2nd place. Josh Strang, gets a little squirrely, able to maintain it and keep it on 2 wheels. And works his way around a lapper, and here we go. By all rights, we got a three-way race here. We'll see if things don't tighten up before it's said and done. Caleb Russell getting the pit board right there. Ricky Russell behind him in second, gets cheered on from the KTM team. They want to see the competition just like we do, but you can guarantee that pit board Caleb Russell saw probably telling him exactly how far back Ricky Russell is from first place right now. Caleb back on screen, and quick work of it, gets another pit board. Couple lappers, 3 lappers at least, as we look down through the dust for Ricky Russell. Boy, that gap has definitely opened up now. Ricky certainly going to have his work cut out for him here as we get down to the nitty-gritty in this one. Caleb checking out to Laterville. Josh Strang hard on the charge right there. A veteran XC1 rider and former champ. He knows all about the importance. Well, how about that? Look at that. There you go. Right on the rear wheel is Ricky Russell behind Caleb, and not too far off the pace is Josh Strang. Now, we have definitely got ourselves a three-way battle. Caleb gets squirrely through the mud hole, and there is Ricky Russell right behind him, flawlessly getting through there, adding the pressure to Caleb. Strang clean through the mud hole, just a lapper or two in between them. Caleb back on screen now. Ricky Russell absolutely mirroring what Caleb did, looking reminiscent of Lane Michael and Caleb early on in this one. No signs of Lane Michael here in the last few moments. Caleb still pushing hard through there. Ricky Russell not letting anything go, laying it all out, and charging is Josh Strang. He knows he's got those guys in his sights. Can he catch up with them? Who's gonna snag the win here at the Bulldog GNCC? We'll be right back.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
That says it all right there. Sponsor Baylor. Pay for the races, and we'll pay for the cases. No doubt about it, Stu Baylor, my friend, you are missed at the GNCC. Back into the racing action, Caleb Russell still out in front, and unfortunately, while we were away, Ricky Russell and Caleb Russell get into a heated bar-banging battle, and unfortunately for Ricky Russell, he went down, will not be returning to this race. So it's Josh Strang into the number 2 spot now, trying to catch up to that pace of Caleb Russell. Caleb in and out of the FMF PowerPoint, and now Strang makes his way through the FMF PowerPoint as well. Pretty decent time gap. Not sure it's going to be enough race left in this one for Strang to catch up, but just as I say that, Strang right there, hard on the throttle, thinking, hey, maybe I've got a shot in this. It just takes one mistake, one mishap by Caleb, and maybe Josh Strang pulls out in front. But alas, too little, too late. He does cut the gap, but there is Caleb Russell coming into the finish line here at the GNCC, capturing his 4th straight win in 2020.
Yeah, there on the last lap, I felt fine all the way up until the last lap, and I kind of bonked a little bit. I had some, forgot my camel back at home, rookie move, and you know, this whole virus thing, I usually have everything packed in the camper and ready to go and double checked, and I usually have 2 setups, but for some reason I took them both out and they're in a box, and I completely forgot to put that stuff back in, so that was my fault. But we had a plan to have drink bottles every lap, and we had a little issue where my straw was falling out of the drink bottles, and before I was even getting any water, so I was getting dehydrated, and like I said, I bonked hard there. And he picked it up and he was riding good. So it was, and to even hold Josh off on the end, it was all I had. So tough day.
Well, how about that? Surviving without the rehydration pack today. And we go down to the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki pits with 2nd place finisher Josh Strang.
It's dusty, man. Yeah, dusty. So I got a good, if the conditions were good, I would have got a perfect start, or pretty good start, but I think I was 6th or something, and probably had to be in first or second today to take advantage of the dust. So it was unfortunate, but I kept chipping away, and then got up towards Ricky with about a lap and a half to go, and we actually were catching Caleb. So when those boys got together, they really wicked it up and created a bit of dust, and there was another gap there. So once Ricky crashed, I tried to catch up a little bit more, and ended up second. So it was a good day, considering how dusty it was and how hard it was to pass, but I was happy.
We'll take a look at the results. It is Craig DeLong finishing in the number 3 spot on adjusted time from the XC2. Let's go down to the pits and see what he had to say about today's race.
I got off to a good start. I mean, I knew it was going to be really dry and dusty, so I wanted to get out front and kind of try to dust everybody out, and that's kind of what I ended up doing. And I got out front for about the first hour and a half, and I got a little too comfortable with my pace, and Ryder ended up running me down, and he really closed up on me and made things interesting there at the end. And yeah, he rode really good and kept me on my toes, and it was a battle all the way to the end, so it was fun.
Congratulations to all our winners here today. Taking a look at the race recap, it was Caleb Russell out front early, battling the 523 of Lane Michael. Caleb Russell never relinquished that lead to Lane, and eventually it was Ricky Russell battling with Caleb nearly down to the wire. But after some bar banging and tight racing, Ricky left the race and did not return from the injury. That opened up the door for Josh Strang to move into the number 2 spot. And of course, a huge congratulations to Craig DeLong, taking 3rd in the overall from the XC2 Pro-Am class. Well, that's going to do it for round number 4, the Bulldog. I'm Mikey Waynes, and thanks for watching Grand National Cross Country here on MAVTV.